Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Derek. Today I'm going to go over a little segment on kind of what I've got in my boat, how I've got it set up. I'm getting ready to go fish a tournament on Kentucky Lake. Conditions are kind of crazy right now down there. There's a lot of snow melt, and then there's also a tropical storm coming in from the Gulf, so the lake's kind of real crazy. I'm going to be down there for 2 weeks. I'm fishing 2 tournaments back to back, so I've really got to bring a lot of stuff because, you know, the first tournament's going to be real murky and the water's still kind of on a warming trend. But then by the time that second tournament comes around, it's going to be pretty sunny, and I'm hoping the water will clear up, so they'll probably be in a totally different pattern. So I'm just going to go through what I've got in my boat, how I've got it set up, so you guys can get an idea of, you know, if you're trying to figure out how you want to set up your bass boat, maybe this will help. Right here in this center compartment, I've got basically a bunch of Plano 3700 boxes. And then all my soft plastics I keep in gallon Ziploc bags. It's pretty simple. I've just got them labeled. So all my trailers, curly tails, craws, chunks, anything that's going to go on a jig or a spinnerbait as a trailer, that's in a bag. I've got craws and creature baits, and then it just basically moves on down the line. Lizards, flukes and swim baits, finesse, robo worms, trick worms, Cincos, small curly tails. Then I've got large worms, I mean all the way up to 12-inch man's jelly worms. I mean, I fish these a lot in a grape color. It works real good at Lake of the Ozarks. So I get quite a bit of use out of those. When it comes to hard baits, I keep all my hard baits right here. I keep them in Plano 3700 boxes. That's what this tackle tray is designed for, and it works real well. As far as deep cranks go, you can pretty much see I keep an assortment. I also keep some extra ones lying around, but this is what I got in here. Most of my hard baits are man's baits. I fish those almost exclusively. I got some Strike Kings, some 10XDs. Basically, your shad patterns are going to work real good at Kentucky Lake, so that's what I've got the most of. I've got some citrus shad, some sexy shad, both 10XDs, and then both these are the new Man's 30 plus. I mean, these things will scrape the bottom at 30 feet, no problem. Then I've got one Rapala here, but basically it's pretty simple. Everything from 20 feet to 30 feet is in this box. It's real quickly, it's labeled deep crankbait, so it's easy to get to. Medium crankbait is pretty easy. It's anything from about 10 to 15 feet. So I've got all your Man's 15 pluses. These are the Man's loudmouths. Got a real nice rattle to them. They run about 15 feet deep. And then I come all the way down. I've got some Rapala DT14s, and then I've got some structure spoons and some stretch series. Next, I got all my shallow crankbaits. So they're pretty easy. Basically, all these are square bills. I've got them arranged by size. These ones here will run about a half a foot deep, down to about 4 feet deep, and then there's some rattle traps on the end there. I organize my jerk baits in the same type of box. It's a Plano Elite 3700 crankbait box. And what I do is I organize mine suspending first, and then I've got floating on the end here. These are floating, and then these are floating. All these here are suspending. I've also got some shadow wraps I'm going to try to throw. If the water temp stays in the low 40s, then I'll throw that new shadow wrap out by Rapala. These 2 boxes here are terminal tackle, sinkers, and then I've got hooks and jigs. It's basically pretty simple. I just keep every assortment of drop shot, shaky heads, some football head jigs, and then everything from 16th ounce to 1.5 ounce flipping hooks, flipping jigs, sinkers, things like that. Right here I've got topwater baits. I throw a lot of frogs when the conditions are right. Right now I've got a big assortment of the new Man's Goliath frog. I mean, that thing's huge. Just look at that thing. So I've got a big assortment of those. I keep a lot of extras in the boat here. I'll show you where I keep some extra stuff at. Then here's the regular Man's Super Frog. Still a good looking frog, just not near as big. And then everything from Zara spooks, pop-Rs, little torpedoes. So I keep a decent variety of topwater lures. These next 3 boxes are all my jigs. I tie all my jigs myself. Most of the heads I mold myself and everything. So these are swim jigs and finesse jigs. Finesse up top, swim down bottom. There's those Rapalas I was telling you about. I haven't got to putting them in a box yet, but that's that new shadow wrap. Hopefully the water temp warms up a little more than having to use that, but you never know. Flipping jigs, same thing. I've got them arranged by size all the way down. Starts off at 3/8 ounce and goes down to 3/4 and 1 ounce down at the bottom. And football jigs are the same way, arranged by size and color. Down here I've got spinner baits and buzz baits. They're all arranged about the same way. Buzz baits on the bottom, spinner baits on the top. A couple of extra skirts real quick in case I need to change one out. Also, this organizer comes with 2 spots to put tools at. I keep a pair of pliers from Lew's. They're real great. They've got a little cutter that'll cut braid no problem. And then I also keep a pair of scissors here. These are just some Klein scissors you can get at Home Depot or any place like that. So that's about it as far as that box goes. As you can see, I mean, there's a decent amount of stuff in there, but the way I keep it organized and simple, it's easy to get to. I know where everything's at. I can find it quick. I'm not going to be on the water searching for a bait whenever I just busted a school up and everything's going good. So I think that's one of the big things to success is keeping your boat organized, keeping it simple, and just doing what works for you. Right over here, I've got my rod box. I went ahead and had the organizer put in, so it's got the tubes and it's got the 2 layers down here at the end. I fish basically St. Croix Legend Tournament bass rods. I've got some other rods mixed in there, some St. Croix Premiers, stuff like that. But basically, I'm going to pretty much all St. Croix rods with Lew's reels. I mean, I have great success with them. I just love those rods and reel setup. Over here, this is pretty much my extras box. So here's all in this thing right here is just a little Plano organizer. That's all extra line. So if I need to get in there for a leader or anything or respool something real quick, it's all right there. It's real simple. And then obviously you got all your Coast Guard devices. You got to have your flotation device. So I've got a life jacket in there, pedestal seat in case I decide I need to sit down if the wind or waves pick up a lot. I've got my net. I usually keep it in here during practice because you don't really need it that much. And then I'll pull it out for tournament day. And then right in here inside this Lew's bag, that's just more extra stuff. That's where I keep a bunch of extra baits. There's some extra crankbaits in there, some extra soft plastics, things like that that I don't think I'm going to need, but maybe I will. I also keep a bunch more soft plastics and lures in my truck. And if I need to plus up something that I use a lot of during a certain day, I'll get it from my truck and plus it up. I mean, there's no reason to fill your boat full of tons of stuff. I've heard that for every 100 pounds of gear you have, you're going to slow yourself down by a mile per hour. I don't know how true that is, but I try to keep my boat pretty light. I think that keeps it pretty fast. The lighter you can keep it, the more balanced you can keep it, the faster it's going to be. As far as in the back goes, the box behind the driver's seat, that's where I keep all my cold weather gear, my wet weather gear, things like that. And then the box behind the passenger seat, I don't keep anything in there at all. That's just for him. It's got an organizer in there that'll hold 7 Plano 3700 boxes, and I just keep it open. I don't put a single thing in there. And then right here on this console, inside the glove box, I've got a couple things, documentation and things a lot like that, but for the most part, I leave it open so my co-angler can use it as kind of a day box. So that way he's kind of got his own little area over there. Right here on the step, it's got 2 things here, a cooler. I usually just keep regular Gatorade and water in there, pretty simple. I've got another cooler I can throw in this box if I think I'm going to need extra ice or more drinks, in the dead of summer when you're trying to keep your fish cool. And then right over here is what Nitro has as a trash can. I use it more as a day box. As you can see, it just pulls right out, and I've got whatever plastic thing I'm going to use that day. Some trailers, some drop shot, and then I also use it as a trash can. If I've got some plastics that I'm done with, I'll throw them down inside there. I don't have a real big problem with it, but I use this mainly as a day box more than a trash can. And that's about it, guys. That's pretty much how I set up my Nitro Z7, and it works great for me. I hope it gave some tips to you guys, and have a great day. Good luck out on the water.